All right, what's going on, guys? Dylan here from Goldberg Strength. Today I am going to be going over the differences between a high bar and low bar squat and some small technique and leverage cues and tips. That way we can maximize the difference between the two squats, and you can also find out which will be most beneficial for you and your own training. So without further ado, let's get right into it, guys. So first and foremost, most of this video is going to be done from the side, just so you guys can get a better angle of the benefits, because I record straight off my phone. I don't have any of those fancy cameras or any of that shit. Just to be upfront with you guys. But my biggest thing here is putting out quality information. I've been in this sport for almost 7 years now. I've learned a lot. I've tried almost every variation there is of squat, bench, and deadlift. So these two are gonna be your primary differences though in competition. Just so you all know, I am gonna be using a Texas squat bar because squat bars are elite. I don't care if we're power bar people. We use a squat bar over here because we do what's just. Furthermore, I'm gonna be using the monolift tonight as well. For those who don't know what a monolift is, it is a specially equipped squat rack that is meant solely for heavy squats, right? It's a little hydraulic machine, and we are not gonna be doing all that tonight. That's why we got our little chains right here. So don't worry, we're not working up to failure, but God forbid something happens, we got that fail safe. Guys, so before we get into it, I just want to do a little breakdown of how everything's going to look and go. So we're going to start with high bar, then we're going to move into low bar. Real quick, I'm going to explain some of the differences between the two, then you'll be able to get a good visual of it when I'm demonstrating them, and then from there we'll do a little summary at the end and we'll see what works best for you guys, and I hope to see you all apply this to your own training. So for starters, high bar squat is going to be set on the top of your traps. You're going to set it like somewhere up around here. We do have a mid-bar option. I'm not gonna get into that. That's, again, more powerlifting specific and for more advanced lifters. But high bar, nonetheless, is gonna sit up here on your traps. A lot of newer lifters tend to make the mistake of putting the bar right on that little neck ball over there, and I wanted to turn around to show you guys that. We don't do that. Again, you're gonna set it on your traps. Another thing that is important to know as well, high bar is going to be completely quad dominant, okay? Low bar, you're gonna get more hip involvement due to a greater hinge. And to give you guys a biomechanical rundown of who this would be more beneficial for, right? High bar, number one, for all new lifters, because you're gonna have to build up your traps, you're gonna have to build that muscle and that movement pattern to begin with. So high bar I recommend for all new lifters, or for people who have short femurs and a longer torso. Why? Because think about it, they're gonna be able to sit more upright like that, which the high bar position is more beneficial for, since it's gonna be sitting at the top of your trap. Now, someone like myself who has a slightly shorter torso and longer femurs, that individual may be more beneficial to do low bar. Why? Because think about it, not only am I gonna be set here, but as I drop into my squat, I'm gonna have to drop my chest. When you drop your chest on high bar, that can put you in a very precarious position, but instead of sitting it on your traps, right, low bar is gonna sit right in here in our rear delts, which is gonna give us that ability to drop our chest while keeping our sternum open, still allowing us to elevate up. So overall, high bar can be much more beneficial, again, for newer lifters and people who are going to have that longer torso. Low bar, think of short torso, longer legs. So our deadlift specialist, for example. And again, if you also just tend to have stronger hips, stronger glutes, you may want to lean towards that lift anyways. It is known that most lifters do squat more with low bar than high bar, which is why low bar is tended to see as a very popular competition variation, you know? Again, not for everybody though. But without further ado, guys, I'm gonna get under the bar. I'm gonna talk and walk us through how each of these lifts should look from a side positioning standpoint. And then from there, I hope you guys can go ahead and make do with what you'd like. And I hope to see some excellent squats and excellent results out of this. Enough yapping. I've talked about enough simple biomechanics to give you a general idea of what we're looking for. So without further ado, let me get under the bar so you can see the difference in the movement pattern itself. We're doing one plate, beltless. Let's go. So I'm gonna start, pull myself into the bar. I'm gonna get under the bar right here. One big thing you're gonna see me do is as I get under, I'm gonna pull my elbows back, and what that's gonna do is engage my rear delts to build my shelf and also allow me to have the bar completely stable and settled. I'm gonna hit my brace, unrack it, and let's go, guys. We always stand up and let the weight settle regardless. Then I'm gonna take a quick 2-step walkout. You're gonna see me get my brace and we're gonna drop right into it. We'll go a couple more reps to give you an idea. And we rack it. So a couple things you guys are gonna notice from me specifically. One, I kind of sit back into it a little bit and I'm gonna do a baby hinge. That's just based off of my own leverages and cues specific to me, right? So just because you see me doing it a specific way, you might not be built like me, right? And that's why it's important, and I referenced it earlier already, squat for your build, right? This is why high bar is going to be a secondary variation for me, because as you'll see, I kind of have to fight the bar on the way up. The one thing you're going to notice though, is there's not as big of a hinge, and I'm trying to not necessarily drop my chest at all, because when you're in an upright position such as high bar, it is not beneficial, and it's very, very easy, because the bar is sitting so high on your traps, to roll up your neck, which is why that shelf I mentioned is super, super important. Small tidbit to know also, as we're talking in between the two lifts, your rack height's almost 9 out of 10 times always gonna end up being higher. That's simply because the bar is just sitting higher up on your traps. So without further ado, I'm gonna lower my rack a little bit and we're gonna move on to low bar. All right, don't hate me guys, because I do not have the prettiest high bar squat, but my low bar does look a lot better. So without further ado, you probably noticed, rack sitting about shoulder level with me. I always recommend you generally want to be there for low bar. That way you can pop right off the rack, not have any issues of clearance. Because sometimes people will set the rack a little too high when they're doing low bar, and they'll clip the rack, they'll have issues re-racking it, and that can make a mess with the bar sliding around on your back. And then also imagine the anxiety you'd have if you have a heavy load on your back and you're struggling to even unrack it. How are you going to walk it out? How are you going to settle and continue to stay in that cool, calm place? Because most of us do not have that world-class mentality, just to be honest. I know most of us watching this may be a beginner, maybe you're intermediate. So guys, just make your life easier. The less stuff that gets in the way of your lifting, the better job you're gonna do and the better mentality you're gonna have while doing it as well. So now without further ado, I'm gonna show you my low bar squat, and I'm gonna briefly talk through part of this as I set up so you guys can understand what's going on. So you're gonna see it's a lot lower. You're gonna see that instead of just setting it up here, watch, we're gonna go further down and I'm gonna move all the way into the rack to push the bar into it. That way I know the bar is sitting on my rear delts. I can feel the tension, okay? As I walk under it, my unrack is gonna be similar, not completely the same. So one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my chest up, open my sternum, and then I pull my hips under. So that way I'm still under the bar before the unrack. We look up, and unrack it just as normal. One thing you may see from the side though, is my hips are gonna be slightly behind me, but they're right in line with the bar. When you're doing low bar, most people say, right, it's important to keep the bar in line with your midfoot. That is 100% true, because the bar is going to not be in line with your hips. Your hips are gonna be a little behind it, okay? So we'll go back, hinge, brace, boom. I don't think that was too bad. All right, guys, in all seriousness though, you can probably see there's a pretty big difference between high and low bar now that I've went ahead and acted it out, right? Since high bar sits up here, if I'm straight under the bar, right, it's gonna be in line with my midfoot. But if I'm low bar and it's sitting down here and I'm already in a essentially pre-hinged position, it's important that we keep that bar in line with our feet. I will cover another video on rooting so that way we can put it all together. But for now, this is just to focus on the two differences between high and low bar, all right? I do have to say though, for me personally, as a guy with a shorter torso, longer femurs, my deadlift is better than my squat. I will say, this makes a world of difference. And welcome into my video. Oh no, you're going on YouTube now too. This is my boy Mustafa. You do high bar or low bar?
Well, right now I'm doing high bar because I'm doing in the front squat today.
There you go. Just as I said, we work
Strong man stuff.
strong. Not only is it strongman shit, but it is for quad dominance. Why? Because as a strongman, he's got to be much stronger than I will ever be, and that's just the truth.
No, he way stronger than me, man.
Hell no, he's tripping. All right, let me cut this shit off. Yo, back to our daily program squat differences, right? Today we have covered the difference between high bar and low bar. I've shown you both a visual demonstration as well as explained some key biomechanical concepts and cues to differentiate the two. To end this video, as you saw, I had my buddy Travis, Mr. Mustafa, join me, who is one of my strongmen. I don't coach him, but he is not only a strongman athlete, he is a strong man. I got my boy Sonny, and he is an elite lifter at both levels of high bar and low bar squat. So all I'm gonna do is turn the floor to him. I'm gonna ask him a couple questions so that way you guys got a little synopsis, and then we can send you off and you guys can experiment on your own, because exercise truly, regardless of whether it's a powerlifting program, general fitness, all of this stuff, all this information is to help you trial and error, right? Try it, figure it out, see what works for you, see what doesn't. So without further ado, I got my boy Sonny here, who, again, elite powerlifter, nationally qualified year over year. Give us your thoughts on high bar versus low bar and your experience in your own training.
Alrighty, so obviously my best squat has been low bar, because it's easier to add more weight when you're doing low bar because you're leaning forward a little bit more. This whole year, I've only been doing high bar because I wanna grow my quads, and I just genuinely want my high bar to improve, like 600 pounds. I haven't done low bar in a while. So yeah, if you want to grow bigger quads, high bar. If you have a big ego and you want to squat as much as possible, low bar.
Literally just said everything we did, but in a realer way than me, because that's what's up. Again, you want big quads, you do your high bar. You want to load more weight, prepare to have your hips loaded, but we're doing low bar. Brother, thank you for joining me this evening. I appreciate you, and thank you all for watching this video as well. Tune in next week, we'll have more good content, and I'll make sure I get more friends in on this too, because guess what? This gym is literally like a bank of knowledge. It is so many people here that are across all different levels, tested, untested, elite, different federations. And Sonny here, one of my best friends in this gym, and not only that, is one of the stronger guys here too, so I would definitely listen to his advice. Y'all take care, have a blessed week, all right?